recording. Hello everyone. I just assume that you can hear me, and I am sorry for being late because I'm located in China. I don't know whether the connection is good or not. So I'll try my best to do this work, and then I also record all this information so we can do this uh, together. So today my presentation is the China electrical installation rules, and the contents. This is the content of my today's webinar. First is the SESEC project introduction, and then I'll talk about China standardization system and organizations that make standards for the low voltage apparatus. And then I will have the market access requirements related standards for low voltage apparatus or equipment in China. And then we will have the applicable electrical installation rules in China. So, and then the second will be I'll have to make my SESEC project is co-funded by the European Commission and EFTA and 3 European standardization organizations like SESEC and SESEC. I'm still not quite sure whether you can hear me, so I'll stop and make a little check on that. So, and then it will be the okay, and then the project. Okay, I'll focus on the SESEC project is a project co-funded by the European Commission, EFTA, and 3 European standardization organizations, SESEC and SESEC. So me is the third phase now, and the first phase of SESEC is from 2006 to 2009, and the second one is from 2009 and 2012. So this project is managed by SEN. And all our work is supported by the steering committee involved with all partners. And then second, what is our project all about? Our project is the target is to support European Commission's policy and the standards organizations strategies in China. And our final or ultimate goal is to make the enhancement of EU-China dialogue and cooperation in the field of the standardization. So our working scheme is to promote European and international standards in China, and we improve contacts between project partners and different levels of Chinese administrations, industries, and standardization bodies. We also improve the visibility and understanding of European standardization systems, make more Chinese stakeholders to understand European legislations, regulations, standards, and also the other requirements. We also gather the regulatory and standardization intelligence and undertake some technical lobbies if our European stakeholders meet. And after the deep discussion with the 5 partners and our steering committee, SESEC projects made 10 prioritized areas. For example, Internet of Things, machine-to-machine, and machine-to-machine communications, and also the cybersecurity, digital identity, smart cities. And here you can see I made a bold capital of the priority areas like electrical and electronics products. We also have the general product safety and medical devices, cosmetics, and others. So today our focus will be the low voltage initiative, low voltage installation roles, which will be covered by electrical and electronics products. Now I'm going to talk about China standardization system and organizations that make standards for the low voltage apparatus. First, this is the China standardization system. First, we have the national standards, which is managed by SEC, China Standardization Administration Committee. And the second level is ministry level standards like GB, DL, or YY. They are all ministry level organization standards. And they also have the compulsory and voluntary standards. And in the third level, we have local standards like some provincial or the city standards. And in the last layer, we have enterprises standards, which are made by mainly industries or the companies for their own references. So we can see that both different organizations or the standards have the compulsory and voluntary. For example, national standards, we have GB versus GBT. GB is compulsory and the GBT is voluntary. And here we list the K national technical committees for low voltage apparatus. First, for example, all the IEC and ISO standards technical committees have their mirrors in SEC. So, for example, SEC TC 67 mirrors IEC TC 23, and SEC TC 81 mirrors IEC TC 37A or B. So here for the China electrical installation code, we have a SEC TC 205, which is mirror IEC TC 64, and the name of that is construction electrical installation. Besides all the technical committees managed by SEC, we also have some other national technical committees organized by Ministry of Housing and urban-rural development. We call it MRHUD. It needs to mention that National Technical Committee of MRHUD are not managed by SESEC. So national standards numbers bigger than 50,000 are approved and published and managed by MRHUD rather than SESEC. So there is a MRHUD Standards Technical Committee on electrical apparatus as well, which do not have the IEC or ISO mirror, but it is still the but it is still the National Technical Committees. It's not SEC Technical Committees. Besides the first layer National Technical Committees, we also have the ministry level technical committees for low voltage products. So first is the technical committees in the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology. You will see that basically each national technical committee is also the ministry level technical committee. Besides the National Technical Committee allied to ministries, there are even more ministry level technical committees located in the ministries. For example, the Secretary of SECTC 2A9 is located in Shanghai Electrical Apparatus Research Institute. Meanwhile, the ministry-level technical committees for low-voltage electrical apparatus is also there with similar staff. And then another very important ministry is Ministry of Housing and Urban Rural Development, MHUD. In 2012, MHUD established 19 affiliated technical committees, and one of that is MHUD Standards Technical Committee on Electrical Apparatus. So the previous one is the China Standardization System. We see that there are different layers of standards, and also we discussed the organizations that make the standards for the low voltage apparatus. Then I would like to mention more the third sector of this presentation, that is the market access requirements for the low voltage apparatus in China. We both know that low voltage products, equipments or apparatus need to do the CCC, China Compulsory Certification. So the electrical wires and cables, 5 different types of these low voltage products like cord set, cable and wire for railway vehicles, and some other type of wires and cables need the certification of CCC. In the switch and circuit, some other 6 type of different switches or the protective and connection devices also need CCC. I just listed the simple name here to let you know that most of the low voltage products need to get the compulsory certification in China before they into the Chinese market. And also this CCC certification is the third-party certification. You have to go to China nominated or nominated technical testing bodies or the testing labs to get the CCC. So in a summary, about 60 to 70% of low voltage apparatus or equipment need to get CCC certificate before they into Chinese market. And IEC series standards like IEC 60947 or IEC 60898 or some 61008, 61007 series standards are all covered by SESEC. Besides SESEC China National Compulsory Standards, we also have another market access requirements or the compulsory technical regulations for the low voltage equipment. That is China National Compulsory Standards. We know that in China, standards are not only voluntary, they are also compulsory standards, which are can be regarded as technical regulation. So the number of compulsory standards for electrical low voltage equipment are about 275, covers products like low voltage apparatus, motors, power tools, and explosive proof electrical machines. Basically, the DC, the voltage 1,500 volts below are regarded in China as low voltage. So the products with volts less than 1,500 need to check the compulsory standards. And for the low voltage apparatus, there are 153 compulsory standards covers electrical accessories, electrical builders, or the electrical powers. So basically, 99 out of these 153 compulsory standards were referenced in SESEC. Basically, so it is the SESEC certification needed. And then, so the two compulsory requirements can be regarded as a market access requirements for the low voltage equipment. And then I'm going to talk about the applicable electrical installation rules in China. So there are two existing electrical installation systems in China. One is the SESEC 205, which is named Construction Electrical Installation, managed by SAC and mirrored to IEC TC 64. Meanwhile, in the MAHAT, there are ministry-level standards committees and national-level technical committees managed by MAHAT, named the Standards Technical Committee on Electrical Parameters. So these technical committees from MAHAT do not have the IEC or ISO mirror. Therefore, please see the notes besides here. Besides the China SESEC and China compulsory standards mentioned above, China electrical installation standards are also de facto market access requirements for low voltage apparatus, because if you want to have your low voltage apparatus or products installed in the civil buildings, you also need to fulfill the China installation rule. So first, let's have a look of TC 205. SEC TC 205 mirrors IEC TC 64. It is set up in 1993, and the secretariat is in China Electrical Design and Research Institute of China Electrical Devices Limited. And SEC TC 205, there are 75 full committee members and six consultant experts, and 5 experts are working for IEC TC 64. The main task of SEC TC 205 is to transform IEC TC 64's standards like IEC 61140, IEC 6479 or IEC 60364 into the China standards. For example, those standards are transformed to the GBT 17045 and GB 13870 and some GB 16895. So basically, in a summary, SESEC 205 identically adopts most of IEC 64 standards. So 30 out of 43 IEC 64 standards were identically adopted by SESEC 205. However, although SESEC 205 identically adopts the IEC standards, few of them are really or actually implemented in mainland China. So it means although the IEC standards are directly or identically adopted in China, the direct applications are very few or very rare. So it means that the direct application is very little and IEC standards are adopted but not really being used. So we want to see why IEC standards has been adopted, but they are not used in China. So this is the reason, because in China there are two existing coexisting installation rules or installation rule-making organizations. Besides TC205, there's another one named MAHAT, Standards Technical Committee on Electrical Apparatus. So most of the building electronic installation standards are now developed by this technical committee. And I list the 6 most important standards in the electrical installation rules, like GB 50052, GB 50054, GB 50055. So basically, these 6 standards are the fundamental China electrical installation rules. And we can see that it is not as same as IEC standards adopted with TC205. Besides these 6 K installation rule standards, there are another manual named JGJ 16/2008, Code for Electrical Design of Civil Buildings. So it is also very important for the applicable electrical installation rules in China, because this code is a ministry level standards. So that's why the code is JGJ 16. And it is actually a design manual for electrical engineers in the civil buildings. So it means that this standard is it can be regarded as a Chinese version of NEC, National Electrical Code. And it is actually a manual for all the designers for civil buildings to make their design. The code for electrical design of civil buildings is a very lengthy book. It is more than 200 pages, and it tells the electrical installation designers to design the systems inside the civil buildings. So the 6 K most important standards in electrical installation rules plus JGJ 16/2008, Code for Electrical Design of Civil Buildings, are the K or applicable electrical installation rules in China. That's why IEC standards in TC205 has been identically adopted but seldom been used. So from the views of the Chinese experts, especially the Chinese electrical installation experts, the problems of IEC series standards are as follows. First, IEC TC64 standards are too theoretical and are mainly fundamental standards. And these standards are lacking of practical implementation and interoperability. Actually, basically, the design experts from the civil engineering department or civil engineering or civil building or civil building institutes, they do not know much about the electrical electronic rules. They just want to know how to design the electrical systems, and they want to reference a manual. And GGJ16 are the manual of such. So the electrical installation experts and designers, they never read the standards of IEC TC64. They just found the manual of GJJ16, and then they check with other GB50054, and then they make their design based on that. Another reason is IEC TC64 standards were published in after 1990s. However, in China, the civil building electrical installation standards were made 10 years before them. So the National Electrical Installation Standards of China was started to develop in 1972, and the six standards. Since then, the six standards had been developed. So after the 30 years, different rounds for modification or changing or revision, the six standards are still there, and they are still very important and key standards for the electrical installation role. And also the concept or the mindset of China installation rules are quite different from IEC. So we also need to mention that even before 1972, China had already implementing standards from the Soviet Union. So basically, the ideas or the ways of making these six important standards for installation rules are actually from the old Soviet Union. And another reason why, the design institutes use construction standards made by Manhattan only. They do not check IEC TC64 standards. Although recently there are many cooperations or lobby or talk between the European industries, like the low voltage initiatives by 5 European big industries or some other companies, Manhattan is trying to adopt the international standards. However, I still think they having a long way to go to make such standards or to really adopt the IEC standards. And another reason is GB 50054. If you check GB without /T, it means compulsory standard. So this code for design of low voltage apparatus installations is compulsory. Another standard, JGJ16 to 2008, also consists of several compulsory articles. So they are basis for the design and drawing for the institutions. So it means that those compulsory requirements or the compulsory articles in the code here need to implement it, need to compulsorily implemented. Some other articles may be voluntary, but it is already a very strong requirements for the market access for the low voltage apparatus, because GB 50054 and GGG16 are compulsory. That's why we made the conclusion that besides the China compulsory certification and China compulsory standards, the code or the China installation code are also de facto compulsory for the products inside the civil buildings. Besides the standards I mentioned in the previous sector, this is the list of other important standards in the electrical installations area, like GB 5074. So basically, all these standards covers pretty much all the products, all the electrical products or low voltage electrical products installed in the civil building. So the problems. GB 55054 and GGG 16/2008 is de facto compulsory, and it is different from IC TC64 standard. So it means that because our European industries mainly produce standards based on the IEC standards, it means there could be some technical barrier here. And also, even for GGJ16 standards itself, there's also some conflicting issues. For example, the design code here does not including the check and acceptance code. So sometimes when you design according to JGJ16, and after the building was built and the companies to check and accept the electrical installations, they use different standards, and sometimes the standards are conflicting. It also causes a lot of problems here. So because these 2 or 3 standards are developed and revised separately, so the problems are also happens here. So solutions. Our project is to promote international standards. So we still think that to make or lobby Chinese stakeholders, especially China SDOs, to adopt the IEC standards, especially IEC 64 standards, is the solution. So first, I think the comparison between JGJ 16, 2006, 2008 and GB 50054 are very important, because of the habit or the tradition of China civil engineering designers or electrical designers for civil buildings, they do not understand IEC standards, IEC 64 TC64 standards. They just want to get the money from GGJ 16. So currently GGG 16 is under revision. So basically it is said it will be published in 2016, but until today I did not see the draft. But basically I think to make the comparison of IEC TC 64 standards and China installation rules, and then find out which clause or which parameters are different from IEC, and then lobby Chinese standard structures to change that, is the best solution at this moment. Because we can't ask the China stakeholders or the SDOs to stop making the GGG16, and we can't ask all the designers or the electrical designers for civil buildings to change their habits in one night or in 1 month. So they still will use GTJ 16, and it's better that we make the GTJ 16 exactly same as IEC TC 64. I'm not meaning that identically adoption. What I mean is we compare the two standards and make sure that all the parameters or requirements are the same from GTG 16, GB 5000514, and IEC TC 64 standards. So here we come to the conclusions. In China, because there are very complicated standard systems, and also in the future there could be the introduction of the association standards. So it means that there are many different layer standards and many different SDOs or the organizations can make standards. So it means that identical adoption of IEC standards, even if that standard is a compulsory standard in China, does not mean that these standards are automatically used or implemented in China. So the exercise of comparison of China applicable installation rules and the standards of IEC has already proved it. So we have to lobby China to adopt more IEC and ISO standards, and meanwhile to ask China to withdraw the other conflicting or overlapping standards. So we just recommend for the European industries or the European stakeholders, I recommend to mapping all the different or relevant technical committees and associations for certain standards, and we have to lobby all the different levels or layers of standards organizations to make sure that IEC standards or the IEC standards parameters are identically adopted by the China standards. So that's all from my webinar, and here is my contact details. I'm sorry because at the very beginning of the webinar, because of the bad connection, I couldn't log in as a host for the webinar. I hope for the next time we could have a better one. And if you still have some questions or you want to do some Q&A, please do not be hesitant. Just send email to me or call me at any time. Thank you. Yeah, or I will distribute all the presentations to your email address. And I am sorry, this is the first time I'm making the webinar. So I also saw some questions. Basically, I will share my presentation of PPT um, uh, with the to your email address, and I will try to. And also, if you have any questions, I can answer now. Do you know if it's possible to local? Yeah, here we have a question to see that. Do you know if it's possible for our local subsidies to participate to the Chinese Technical Committee? Yes, there is there is possibility to join the China Technical Committees because but you have to be Chinese because the working language in China is Chinese. And also you have to make some contributions to the local technical committees. And you may know that China, we regarded the relations, I mean, one's relation or the people you know mostly. So you have to have very good connection with all the other people or the Chinese SDOs, so you can join the technical committee. I will answer the question one by one. Friesland. Yeah, I also saw some similar names here. Where to find the compulsory standards like here's another question: where to find the national compulsory standards? I think there are. I think there are the website. I will show you later. there is a website show all the compulsory standards. I will distribute that with my presentation as well. And other questions. Yeah. That's all. Yes, that's all. Because we only have 1 hour for our webinar. I don't know whether it answers all your questions or not. Yeah. So I just answer the 2 questions here. And for the compulsory standards, there is the website, however, in Chinese. There is a website in Chinese for all the compulsory standards. And you can read it. Read the compulsory standards online. And now I can't remember the website, but I'll send it to you. Are there any other questions? If you want to ask, we still have some time to answer all the questions. What about, do you provide some translations to, do you provide the translations, do you provide some translations to help us to fulfill the requirements? Yes, we can, but I have to see that our SESEC project is with limited resources. And translation, for example, the GGG 16, there are 200 pages. Translating all the whole books obviously is not very practical. So we can translate if there are many requirements. We can translate some summaries or abstracts, and also we also can recommend some good translating companies or service providers. I hope you can buy such translation, because it's really a lot of work. So what we can do from SESEC project is to give you some abstract or translate some simple like summaries or the name of the standards, or what will be need to be fulfilled or something like that. But if you want to check the technical details or want to know the technical parameters or some other information, you have to buy the service. You have to buy the translation. That's my answer. What about CMC? China Military Committee, is that compulsory electrical? Another question here is, what about the CMC, China Metrology Committee? Yes, China Metrology Committee, this is compulsory. So all it is no standards, it's meteorological requirements in China are compulsory. So if the China Metrology Committees produce a standard is 1 meter, that's 1 meter. If this electrical voltage is 5 volts, it is 5 volts. So it is compulsory. Get and help manufacturers. Ready? Yeah. Okay. So abstract will be fine. I'll send you the report, but it also depends on your products. You have to check more detailed information. Another question is standards downloading free? No. Another question from this is standards downloading free from charge of or payable in China. In China, the standards are not for free. You have to buy the Chinese standards. However, the compulsory standards, there are some discussions saying that compulsory standards should be free because compulsory standards is a technical regulation. It's like law. It's compulsory. So, but currently compulsory standards can only be read online. It cannot be download or it cannot be printed out. So if you want to buy standards, you can go to China SEC website and or China Standardization Library, and then they will sell that. Another question is I will share here. Thank you for your presentation. I would like to ask about the participation of market surveillance authorities in China's standardization body's work and how the requirements of relevant products are supervised. Thank you. In China, the market, in China, the compulsory certification, the compulsory product certification CCC is a pre-surveillance, pre-checking of the products. So it means the products need to get CCC or some other license before they goes to Chinese market. However, the market surveillance are done by different authorities. For example, there are national market surveillance authority like AQSQ, and some local quality inspectors, quality inspection bureaus. They also have their sample testing mechanism, or they have their market surveillance funding and activity. So basically, they have a plan. For example, this month, I will check 500 different products for low voltage switches. So they set up this plan, and then they go to the market to get the sample and test by their labs. And then they will, for example, if all the results are fine, and they will pass the market surveillance report. But if there are many problems, they will make the alarm, or or they will find the Chinese manufacturers not making very good or very safe products. So that's the reason. And you also ask how they involved, how they participation of market surveillance authorities in China standardization bodies. Yes, some market surveillance authorities are also members for the technical committees. For example, in the technical committees, that will be the manufacturers, the consumers, the testing labs, and some market surveillance authorities representatives. So they always need to know the standards, testing methods, or the testing methods behind, or the safety requirements, or the safety parameters, so they can do the market surveillance plan in the future. I hope this can answer your question. Are there any other questions? Let me see. Another question is, are foreign laboratories accepted for CCC certification labs? Yes. Yes. Since 2014, There are, in the previous time, foreign laboratories are not allowed to make a CCC testing or certification. However, since 2014, there are CCC reforms in this area. As far as I know, UL, TÜV, they can't do all the CCC certificate. They can only do, for example, black and white TV or some audio system. They have to apply from China NCA to get the right to do the CCC certification. So as far as I know, 3 foreign laboratories can do the CCC, UL, TÜV, and one from Hong Kong. I don't know, I can't remember the name. But anyway, 3 foreign laboratories can do the CCC in very limited areas. That's my answer. Okay, are there any other questions or? I also want to tell you that I have a report for the China installation rules and also the market access requirements. I will also send this special report to you for that. I didn't see any other questions. Okay. Sorry, I just ah now I know how to take it. If now I know I can not mute. I think if we do not have any other questions, uh, yes, the questions and answers, and also the presentations plus the special report will distribute to you after tomorrow. I mean tomorrow after this webinar. Um, So I guess we will just close the session, and thank you again for all the participants. Today we have more than 6 participants, and I will ask you guys whether the line is good. I mean the connection is good because we are very far away. And if you have any feedbacks like questions, complaints, or any other please send us an email. Again, thank you very much for joining our webinar. And I'm thinking about holding another one, and I will have a better connection and better performance for the next time. So thank you and bye bye.